Hi friends, it's Peggy Noe from PrettyPaperCards.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today we're going to make a special fun fold card, and we're going to use the Dove of Hope bundle. Here is the stamp set, and here are the dies. The dies are spectacular, and we're only going to just show a fraction of what these beautiful dies can do. I'll be doing another video later on with what can be done with these dies and beautiful foil paper. But for now, I wanted to mostly concentrate on the card and the fold part of it. So here's the card we're going to be making today. It's a square 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 card, and I love the way it opens up. I don't even know what it's called. I'm calling it a square trifold card, but I don't necessarily think that's right. I don't know the name. I saw someone, my friend made a card using this fold, and I just loved it. I have two samples. This is one using the more green part of the glimmer paper, and I did a few more things to this card, a little more on the inside. But as you know, I ran out of the blue and green glimmer paper, so this is the one we're going to make today. And I want to show you a little bit about this fabulous glimmer paper. It's in the 2021 Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog, and it's on page 153 at the bottom, down here. And look at how gorgeous it is. Again, I've used up all this section, and I only have these bits left because it's so beautiful. I just love it. It's only $6 for 2 sheets, and I have that on my list because I need more. You can see that. So let's learn about this fun fold. I'm going to show you just how to make it. We're going to start with an 8 1/2 by 11 standard sheet of Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and I'm going to have to pull out the arm of it because the paper is 11 inches long. Let me be sure you can see this. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I want to make my paper, my basic paper 8 1/2 squared. So I'm going to put this up on the 8 1/2 inch mark right here, put the arm down, and just cut that piece off. So now we have an 8 1/2 inch squared piece. I'll put my arm back down. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do some scoring. And you know this paper trimmer has a cutting blade, and it also has a scoring blade. So right now we're just going to use the scoring blade. And we have this 8 1/2 square piece of paper. We're going to score it in half on two sides so that it completely scored has 4 4 1/4 squares. So we're going to score it at 4 1/4 here. And we're going to score it at 4 1/4 over here. Now what we want to do, if you remember, let's look at our sample. So here we have our 4 squares. And if you remember our sample, this is what we want it to look like. So we need to cut this square out. So what we're going to do is we're going to now use the cutting blade, and we need to use it from the top because we don't want to go past the center fold here. So we're going to put it on 4 1/4. Now one thing, I like to go just about a 1/16 of an inch in on this particular side so it folds down nicely and doesn't compete with this fold right there. So I'm at 4 1/4, and I'm going to go in just a hair, like a 1/16 of an inch there. And then I'm going to pull my cutting blade down, and it's a little hard to see, but getting as close without going over, we're going to have to go back and use some paper snips in a bit. And then do it again, 4 1/4, and this one we don't need to go in any. And we're going to pull that down as close as we can get without going over, and then we lift it up, and now our square is pretty much cut. We just need to go back in with our paper snips and just fix that. I'm going to get my glasses a little more closer to my eyes. I'm going to go right into that score mark And here I'm going to go right over to that score mark. And there we go. Now all we have to do is fold and burnish. And I like to make sure that my edges meet before I do the burnishing, especially with this one, because we want this to really be fold nicely. And this is why I wanted to cut that just a little short, and that's so this folds over nicely without getting bunched in the center. Okay, so we're going to score that, and there is our card. Now I might just press those edges down a little bit, and there we go. That's your card base, and now you can do whatever you want with it. You can decorate it in any way you like, but what I'm going to do is cut a hole in the front right here. So let's bring in my Big Shot. Now, some of you may know that Stampin' Up! Is getting a beautiful new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine on September 4th, 2020. So I'm waiting for that. Here we're going to use, we're going to cut our hole with a circle die from the Layering Circles. This is the one that's 2.5 inches in diameter. And the way to place our paper, now again, let's look at our paper. Okay, here's our card. And we're going to open it up like this and open like this. So this is the part we want to cut our circle in. So I'm actually going to just turn that over and not do anything with that side. And then here I'm going to put my circle die as much in the center as I can get it. I mean, nobody's perfect, right? But there, right in the center. And then we'll put our top plate on, and we're just going to run that through the Big Shot. And we pull it out, and here's our card. Slip out that circle and save it for later. And here is our card just the way we want it to be. Isn't that neat? Okay, I'm going to set my Big Shot aside. And now we're going to start decorating our card. Let's see. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp our Peace on Earth sentiment in the center. So I'm going to get out my Magenta Madness ink. This is one of the new 20 to 22 in colors. And I'm going to stamp my sentiment. I'm going to be very brave and close the card and stamp my sentiment right in there, a little bit to the bottom, but mostly in the center. Let's see it. I do have a spare card if it doesn't work out. It worked out. Okay. Now I'm also going to put a little ornament. There's a cute ornament stamp in this set, and I want to put a cute little ornament right above the word peace. And sometimes some stamps just, I think I turned it a little bit when I pressed down on the ink pad, but sometimes you get just a little bit of extra ink out here, and I find that if I keep a little wet one right next to me, I can get that stuff off and it doesn't ruin my card, hopefully. Now I'm going to put this little ornament right over the word peace. Great, that turned out very nice. And now, when we close our card, that's what shows inside. Now we're also going to do a couple more things here with this first flap. We're going to stamp a couple of the smaller doves on the sides here, and I'm going to use Calypso Coral ink, and this is a little bit smaller dove, and it has an olive branch, and I just think it's really cute. There's one, and there's the other one. Isn't that just a pretty dove? And we are going to go back and do a little coloring in a minute. So right now, that is what our card looks like. And we're going to be very brave and glue on our wreath. I'm going to set it out like this. Now this wreath was cut from the glimmer paper using this wreath builder die. There are two different wreaths in the wreath builder dies, and one is a little more traditional, and this one is has more little flourishy branches, and I preferred this one for this card. Now the trick is, you can see that this has a circle, and that matches pretty much exactly with the circle we cut. So all we're going to do is put glue on these outside branches, just a few dots, and then we can adhere it to the front of our card. The last time I did this, I accidentally got glue. I put glue on the inside, and that wasn't good. Now I'm looking at a couple of places where I needed to punch out a few little bits there from the glimmer paper. The die is really delicate and intricate. I think that's why I like it so much. It's really pretty and has these little tiny bits that come out that make it much prettier. Let's see, did we get them all? I think so. Let's get those, make sure we have all of them off. Oops, there's another little one right there. I just punch them out with my paper snips. There, it makes it look a lot more delicate. Okay, so now we're ready to turn this over, and we're just going to put a few dots of glue on, whoops, that was too much. So I'm just going to smear it a little bit. Use that on these little outer branches or leaves. I don't really know. Just a little bit, and you don't even necessarily have to get every one. Just get some. And one thing I will tell you about this multi-purpose glue, if you leave it just a few minutes, it kind of sets up and it doesn't smear as much. So it's kind of good that we're taking our time to go slow. There's a little bit there. Okay. We're taking our time to go slow so that some that we did in the beginning is setting up just a little bit, and that means it won't smear out. I just hate it when my glue smears out, but it does sometimes. Okay. There we go. Now I'm just going to wipe that finger off. And now our trick is to balance it, and right over, I want the circle of the wreath to balance right over the opening of the circle that we cut. And that's pretty much it. Let's turn it back over. Yep, that turned out pretty well, didn't it? You see, I got a little bit of glue up there. Do you all have this rubber thing that you can use to get bits of glue off? Let me see if I can find it in here. I don't know what you call it, and mine's even kind of dirty. Don't even look at it. But it does take off extra bits of glue that you get on like that. Now I think we're good. I don't see any glue. I think my hair might have gotten in there. Were you looking at my hair? Okay, so there is how it's looking so far. Pretty nice, huh? Okay, now we're going to go back in just a little bit. I've used Stampin' Blends, and I've used watercoloring, but we're going to use, I think this time we're just going to use a little bit of watercolor pencils here, because the blends went through onto the back side as they are known to do. So I'm just going to use a little Granny Apple Green watercolor pencil here to just color in the branches, just add a tiny bit of interest here. And let's see, we might do just a bright pink little berry. This is the Melon Mambo pencil. And now I think here on our ornament, we might just, let me get that Calypso Coral. Where did that go? Was that Calypso Coral? That can't be right. That was Melon Mambo. Let's see, Calypso Coral. Okay. And we're just going to color that right in here like that. Just to add a little interest to our card. Again, you could actually die cut this little ornament and color it to your heart's content and glue it on here. I just didn't. I wanted to show you some of all the stamps, and I just didn't take the time to do that. Okay, I don't like those berries. They're not bright enough. Let's use a real red, because it is a Christmas card after all. Okay, I think that looks a little better. So there's the inside of our card. Now we're going to color the dove. Now the dove I stamped out of Magenta Madness, and I used shimmer paper, white shimmer paper, and you probably can't see it on the camera, but it is a little sparkly. And now we're going to actually color the dove in with Stampin' Blends, and the reason for that is because we don't care that it comes through, because we're going to set the dove on the front of the card. So I'm going to use Calypso Coral, Stampin' Blend, Light Stampin' Blend, and the Daffodil Delight Light Stampin' Blend here. And we're just going to color our dove. It goes really fast with the Stampin' Blends. I love them. So we're going to get all the wings, and we're just going to give a little bit of a yellow tummy in a minute. So I think it's amazing how pretty Calypso Coral looks with the Magenta Madness. The shades are just right, the pink and the orange. It's a pinky orange, and they just really look pretty together. So let's color all this in. And we'll kind of color down here near the feet. We'll color the head and the back there. And then I think we're going to just put a little bit of yellow in here around the breast area of the bird, his little underside, her little underside. And then I think we're going to go back with another time with the Calypso Coral, just on the ends of the wings to kind of darken that a little bit. That's the nice thing about the blends, is they really do blend. I'm kind of wondering, should we get the dark Calypso Coral? Let's get that. I have them all right here. No, Cajun Craze. Let's see here. Here we go. Dark Calypso Coral. Let's see if that makes a difference. Ooh, it almost makes it too much, doesn't it? I'll just go in and do a few little strips of it there. A few little bits down here. Okay, good. And there's our sweet dove. Now we're ready to put the dove on the front of our card, and we're going to do that with just some Stampin' Dimensionals, which I have here. And we'll just put a couple. We don't need a lot. Just 2, I think, will do it. I love this set. I just think there's so much that we can do with this dove set. And I do really like doves. So there we go. Doesn't that look pretty? I think really the green wreath would have been better, but I do like this. And then we're going to go back, and we're going to use that circle that we had, and we're going to stamp our sentiment on it. And it's one of the sentiments that comes in the set, and it says, "May your season be filled with all the wonder and blessings of Christmas." And amazingly, it's kind of a large stamp, but it fits into this circle that we cut out, which is a little convenient. So we're just going to put that in there. And now you could put this on Stampin' Dimensionals, but I think I think it would make the card too kind of puffy. And the highlight of the card is the front, right? Is the dove and the wreath. So I'm just going to put this inside. Now on another one of the sample cards, there are some pretty olive branches, and I cut those out with the dies and colored those and everything. But for this one, I'm just going to do that much. I mostly wanted to show you how to make this square card. Whoops, I got a little boo-boo over there. Well, guess what? We're going to put some rhinestones on, if I can find my rhinestone. So we'll just put a little rhinestone. I don't know how I got a little dot of ink there, but that happens. So we're going to add a few rhinestones, and I'm just going to put one right on that little dot of ink, and then nobody will see it. Do you do that? No one will ever know. These are just our little basic rhinestones. Let's see, I think I'll put one up there. And remember, usually you put them in, put things on your cards in odd numbers. It's always more pleasing to have odd numbers. So there are 3 rhinestones. So there's our pretty Dove of Peace trifold card. Now you can make an envelope. You can make your own handmade envelope with our envelope punch board. I didn't take the time to do that today, but I thought you would just really like seeing how to make that trifold square card. I will put the dimensions down below in the comments, well, in my section down below, so that you can look down there and see the different sizes of things. But I hope you've enjoyed. I'll bring in the blue-green one, which I really do like better. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I sure would love it if you would do that. Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.